First story. Am I the a-hole for making my teens share a bedroom? Throwaway account. My husband unexpectedly passed away a few months ago, and I became a single mother to 3 kids. Age 16, male, 14 female, and 2 female. Due to the significant decrease of income, I was no longer able to continue renting where we were, and all I can afford is a 1-bedroom apartment. Currently, I am sleeping in the living room with my youngest 2 female. I gave the bedroom to my 16 male and 14 female and asked them to share in the meanwhile. I tried adding a privacy screen in the middle so they feel like they have their own space, but they are telling me that this isn't acceptable. Each of my kids used to have their own rooms, so this is a massive change for them. I have been looking for a better paying job for months and so far have had no luck. I can't get a second job because I can't afford to pay someone to care for my daughter 2 female outside daycare hours. Neither of my kids, 16 male and 14 female, are willing to help, and they say my youngest is not their responsibility. I know this situation isn't ideal, but I don't know what else I can do. For the past month, I've not been eating anything for 2 days a week and just telling the kids I'm trying out the fasting trend for weight loss purposes. But the truth is, I can't afford to feed us all, and I have been using the food bank. Prior to this, I had never had to use food bank services before, and I am so thankful that it exists. I am both thankful and deeply ashamed at the same time. Would I be the a-hole for telling my teens that they must share the bedroom? Would it be better if I suggested my son sleep in the living room with me and have both my female kids share the bedroom instead? I do not live in the US, but it is not common for teenagers of opposite sex to share a bedroom. That is something I do absolutely recognize. Edit. Gosh, I really wasn't expecting so many responses when I checked back. Thank you, everyone. All this time, I did feel it would be unfair to put adult problems on my kids. However, I will be giving them a surface-level talk about our finances. I'll also be bringing them with me to the food bank. Hopefully, they'll be more understanding. Edit 2. The bedroom is larger than the living room. I am able to fit 2 single beds into the bedroom, and the kids have space to store their clothes while still having the room divider in the middle. The living room is smaller. I currently have my youngest and my own clothes stored in the hallway due to lack of space. It is right next to the washroom and kitchen, so there is a lot of foot traffic. The living room also doubles as dining space because there is no dining room. Comment A, not the a-hole. Explain to the kids what is happening and that you are trying to fix the situation. Take them to the food bank with you. They need to know that you're doing your best during a difficult time. You don't need to hide this from them. They're old enough to understand and likely will be helped by knowing what's going on and why. You can't shield them from this, but there's a good chance you'll get a better response from them if you include them in your decision-making that affects them. Hope better things come your way soon, not the a-hole. Comment B, not a-hole here. Your teens are old enough to know your financial situation. If they really want their own rooms, then they're going to need to help, either by babysitting so you can get a second job or by getting jobs themselves. It would probably be better if you and your daughter shared the bedroom while your son sleeps in the living room. This is important. I would sit down and talk with them about how the financial situation has changed and how some sacrifices must be made to still have a place to call home. I shared with my brother until I moved out at 20, and I helped my mother with my 3 younger siblings when I could, but I kept having issues in school due to the stress. If possible, maybe talk to your son about getting a part-time job to help with expenses and allowing him more freedoms to go with the added responsibility. I hope you can push through these hard times. Not a-hole here, my condolences. Comment C, not the a-hole. Literally, what do they expect you to do? I get that they're upset, but they're both old enough to understand that things are tough for your family and you can't magically make an extra bedroom appear. I don't think I'm comfortable with 2 minors who just lost their father, their family home, and their privacy in a short period of time being called a-holes. Deeply unrealistic and in desperate need of a reality check. But a-holes? They're kids who have suffered a lot of loss and change. It also sounds like there could be some resentment toward the 2-year-old. Maybe that's only since their dad died, but maybe that's an issue that was allowed to fester for a couple of years before that. If there's no money for food, there's likely no money for therapy to help them process what's happening around them. Honestly, maybe the best thing OP can do is clue them in on the family situation a bit. Let them know just how hard life is and give them the opportunity to develop a more mature perspective. If there's anything in anyone's soul, learning mom isn't eating 2 days a week to feed them should be a wake-up call. Update: I had a chat with my kids after work. I still don't want to put an adult problem onto my kids, so I only gave them a brief overview of the dire financial issues we're having after my husband, their father, passed away. Us downsizing to a one-bedroom apartment was not by choice. I also told them the truth about how I couldn't afford to feed us all and why I didn't eat 2 days of the week. I was afraid of how they would take the news, but it had gone better than I expected. My kids will be coming with me to the food bank for the next trip to help out. In terms of the rooming situation, both my older kids agreed that they did not want to share a room with my youngest two female because she frequently wakes up at night and also has accidents. They also don't want to share with me because I get up much earlier than them to work, and it would disrupt their sleep. They would rather share the room with each other while I continue to sleep in the living room with my youngest. My 16 male and 14 female told me that their friends were saying no kid should ever have to watch their sibling because they didn't create them. They've been told by their friends that it's parentification to be asked to babysit for even an hour, and it is never okay in any circumstance. That was why they kept calling me an a-hole when I asked if they could help with childcare so I could get a second job. Now that they know how bad the situation is, my son said he wants to find a part-time job to help contribute. My daughter apologized and said it wasn't that she hated me or her sister. Both my son and daughter said they are willing to help take care of the youngest so I can get a second job. Hopefully I can find something soon and be able to move to a larger space. Comment A, that fourth paragraph. Reddit is destroying an entire generation of young people. Social media in general, really. That really struck me too. Comment B. They've been told by their friends that it's parentification to be asked to babysit for even an hour, and it is never okay in any circumstance. I'm willing to bet I know which subreddit they got this line from. Good for you raising kids that understand nuance. Hopefully it will rub off on these friends. I think it's only parentification if they have to babysit frequently. To ask your older child to watch the younger one once in a great while is normal and not a form of abuse. Frequent babysitting is not parentification. Making a sibling a parent is parentification. Comment C. Eyeballs sweating. Sounds like you're raising good humans, mama. May good fortune shine down on your family. Comment D. Hopefully I can find something soon and be able to move to a larger space. I do hope you find a good second job, but be clear with your kids. Being able to save some money for an emergency, it's wiser than moving to a larger place. Of course, life would be easier living on a bigger apartment. However, being financially secure should the main focus. I hope telling them the exact financial situation you are all in brings you closer. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to attend Christmas dinner at my husband's childhood home after years of being treated as an outsider? My husband's male 33 mother passed away, and his father remarried 5 years ago. Since his father's new wife moved into my husband's childhood home, a 6-bedroom mansion, things have completely changed. What was once a warm family home now feels unwelcoming. The unequal treatment has been consistent over the years. My father-in-law once yelled at me for holding a wine bottle incorrectly, and I've watched year after year as my brothers-in-law received thoughtful Christmas gifts while I got nothing. Last year, while I was pregnant, I received nothing. But my father-in-law rushed to give my brother-in-law his gift the moment he walked in. When our son was born, they came to the hospital empty-handed. No gifts, no food, nothing for the baby or me. In contrast, when my sister-in-law gave birth, everyone, including us, brought generous gifts. We gave her a full care basket with massage vouchers and clothing for both her and the baby. This year, for our son's first Christmas dinner at the family home, we were told we could only stay for one night, while my husband's sisters and their families are staying for the entire holiday period. They claim there isn't enough space despite having 6 bedrooms. This means we would need to make a 90-minute drive back home with our baby after dinner. They even called to tell us we need to bring our own bed sheets for our one-night stay. I told my husband I don't want to go at all. I'm concerned about not only the practical issues of traveling with a baby late at night after a big dinner when we have an early flight the next day, but also about my son growing up seeing this unequal treatment within the family. My husband is asking me not to make things worse, but I feel like we're already being treated as second-class family members, and I'm done with tolerating this. Am I the a-hole for refusing to attend Christmas this year? Comment A. Not the a-hole. Your husband is the a-hole for tolerating this treatment of you and your baby, and for suggesting that you should continue to be exposed to it. Agreed. Husband is the a-hole here. Not the a-hole. Your husband needs to step up and have your back. Not the a-hole. Whoa, you have already tolerated way too much, and so has your husband. Pull back, start your own family traditions. See dad and stepmom when it suits you. Imagine how your child will feel when they realize the inequalities they will suffer compared to their cousins. Stop this right now. Comment B, not the a-hole. Their message is loud and clear. You're not welcome. You shouldn't have to subject yourself to that. This is exactly what I feel. Unwelcoming. Like, who treats family like this? It's my son's first Xmas, and I want it to be special. I'm stuck on your husband telling you not to make things worse. I hate to think of how it could get any worse. Bring your own bed sheets? What the hell? You and your husband's primary responsibility and focus is now your child. Holidays should be absolutely magical, and it's your job to do everything you can to ensure that. So if husband's dad and the extended family impede that, then you stay home or go where your child experiences the magic of the holidays. If you don't do that, then that's how you make things worse. I'm curious too. Any family is not better than no family. Those who just take and take leave you with less for those who actually care. I'd ask husband, why is he happy for them to treat his wife and son this way? Why do none of his family stand up for them? Or even treat them fairly? They all do it. Just spend this year with little one at home. Comment C, send husband with gifts for them. Everyone gets a big fancy box with a $5 Claire's gift card. They can't complain, because what did they get your family, eh? Cute, but this year, first time ever, I only got something for my child and my husband. They are not worth a dime of my money. Understandable. I just like the little slap of, I thought of you in this. This is what I thought of you. Other options, all women get clothes 2 sizes too big or too small. Edit to add clearance rank 90% off cheap brand clothes at that. The only guidance is that it is dirt cheap and way too small big. Could be funny, but husband wouldn't let it happen. Plus, last 2 years, they somehow always forgot to get me anything. So this year was so fun, only got my son the best development toys. Comment D, what the hell? Do they even love their son, your husband? I have serious doubt about this. Like, who tells you to bring your own bed sheets? This is family, and I know there is a whole wardrobe full of bed sheets. Plus, they know we just moved to a new apartment this week. I'm still unpacking, and I don't even know where my box with most of my bed linen is. Comment E, so sad. Your husband is still trying to get acknowledgement from his father. That he doesn't want to make it worse mean that he has accepted his role in the family? Is he the scapegoat? Definitely do all you can to not go at all. Everyone will be happier. He basically agrees to this treatment. We have had major arguments about this before. Nothing seems to help. No matter how bad it is, he still won't go no contact. But he forces me and my son to now be involved in this, and I just don't want to. Comment F, not the a-hole. Your husband is asking to not make it worse? How could it be worse? Honestly, no contact would be better than this disrespect and unequal treatment. Doesn't it hurt him every time you and him get the short end of the stick? Does he want his own son to feel that same hurt in a couple of years? If they don't change, it's better to rip off the Band-Aid now, so your son will be loved by everyone around him. This may be a harsh reality for your husband, I get that. But he has to realize that this is hurting him, you and your son. He has to call out his family on their behavior and stop doing everything exactly like they want to. Call them out. Hopefully it will be a reality check for them. If not, cut them off. There should be no room for hatred in your son's life. I wish I could. He has begged me not to say anything. Since to him, any family is better than no family. But in my view, it isn't. I watched my mom host my dad's family for years, slaved away in the kitchen, while they barely got her flowers from the gas station and always treated her as lesser due to her race. I still remember this as a child, and I do not want my son to see this. We have different backgrounds and do not come from the same country originally. Next story. Am I the a-hole, I 31 female, had my daughter 5 female, donate her toys before Christmas. This year my daughter wanted to participate in our country's version of Angel Tree. I agreed with the condition that she would need to donate the amount of gifts from her toy collection we would be buying for the child. The toys my child donated would not be going to the child whose list we picked, but to the local daycare who had asked the community for used toy donations to their playroom. My daughter happily agreed to this condition and chose her 3 least favorite toys to donate. We purchased the toys and other asks on the child's list and wrapped them together. We made a time of it and played carols as well as had Christmas snacks. I wanted this to be a positive experience for my daughter. Yesterday we had my family's Christmas celebration. My daughter was telling my mother, 52 female, about her donating her toys and getting to buy toys for another child that needs them. My mother was outraged that I forced my daughter to donate toys and that I was being harmful to my child by instilling dislike for charity in my daughter. My sister piped up and agreed with my mother, saying I wasn't being fair by forcing my child to donate her own things to participate in charity. I tried to explain to them I was teaching my child that donation costs us personally, but feeling of doing good for others is the payoff. My child doesn't want for anything. She has had more than 3 toys given to her already for Christmas, toys she preferred over the toys she gave away. I have left the family gathering feeling very emotional and upset. My daughter is confused because she thought she was doing the right thing by donating her toys and is upset that I was crying on the way home. I'm pretty sure I did the right thing, but I was berated by my mother and sister for nearly an hour about my parenting choices. Edit. I have realized condition is probably the wrong word to use in the circumstances. My daughter asked to participate in the Angel Tree, and I suggested and encouraged her donate some of her own toys to the local daycare alongside our donation. She enthusiastically agreed and was completely in control of what toys she was donating. We were well overdue a toy decluttering and were going to be doing this after Christmas anyway. This way she was able to be the one to decide which toys we decluttered and got the bonus of feeling like she was helping others. If she had refused, I wouldn't have pushed the donation and we would have still donated to the charity she chose. Comment A. Not the a-hole, I love you for doing this. When I was a kid, my parents had us round up and donate all our old toys that we no longer wanted or played with. We felt so good and purposeful and helpful, knowing that we were giving other kids toys and making them happy. It made us kids feel like such good little people. We were proud of ourselves. I remember that feeling vividly. One of my formative memories is selecting a spinning Milan character top from a McDonald's Happy Meal for the already full donation box, and I still feel good about it when the memory pops up in my 30. Your daughter probably felt that same pride welling up in her. She made other kids happy. What a wonderful little girl she knows she is to share and be generous, and to get rid of old toys in a way that isn't wasteful. I'm so sorry that your family spoiled that positive experience for you and your daughter. If someone had taken that proud, good feeling away from me as a kid, I'd have been distraught. Seeing from both your and your child's perspective, not the a-hole at all. She was so excited to tell my mother. She was proud of all the donating she got to do and how she got to make someone feel special. Watching that light be snuffed out the same way my mother did that to me as a child has me realizing I need to reassess the relationship and boundaries I have in place. Thank you so much for the comment and insight into how it made you feel as a child. I hope I am able to rebuild those feelings in my daughter after this experience. Take your kid to some normal person and let her tell them what she did. They'll give her the positive feedback anyone would expect in this situation, and your daughter will recover the joy she had. I might give my in-laws a call and ask them if they can be very forthcoming with praise on Christmas Day, and I'll try and encourage her to talk to those relatives about what happened. I doubt they need to be asked to encourage her actions, but I'm sure a little extra praise will help cushion what she experienced from my family. Comment B. Not the a-hole. Your family is claiming the right to parent your daughter. Your daughter was perfectly happy before their meddling. I suggest giving them some serious consequences for this so that maybe they'll think before meddling again. I have a very strained relationship with my mother and sister already. I hadn't spoken with them for 5 years before my daughter was born, and only contacted them as I wanted my child to have them in her life. They begrudgingly respect the boundaries I have in place, but they have been pushing them significantly more lately. I think I need to discuss with my husband and reassess the relationship I have with them at this point. It was fairly normal for me to leave the family home in tears, but this is the first time it's happened in nearly a decade. I think you need to return to no contact or at least low contact. This kind of thing is very damaging for a child, as you well know. Why did you let them treat you that way for an hour? You're not a child anymore. You can get up and leave the minute they start to abuse you. Please set stronger boundaries. That includes leaving their presence right away when they start to treat you or your daughter or husband with any disrespect at all. You're absolutely right. I let my fear in the moment stop me from acting to protect myself and my child. My husband is firmly pushing no contact at this point, and I am having trouble finding a reason to not agree. He was sent outside with my stepfather to BBQ lunch before this happened, and was the one who packed us up and left when he came inside and realized what was going on. Next story. Am I the a-hole here for giving my work secret Santa a handmade gift that will ultimately be for her daughter? So I, 20-ish female, am taking my part in my workplace secret Santa where I am gifting to Jay, 30-ish female. Jay is in my team, we are friendly, chat regularly, and have lunch together most days. For the past month or so, she has been complaining how she cannot get a specific toy for her daughter as it sells out in shops too quickly. And when she looks online, they are being sold for outrageous prices on eBay. When our Secret Santa was announced, we were told that we can get anything, but there is a $10 limit. When I drew Jay's name, I thought that a good gift would be to crochet her daughter something similar to the toy that she wants to get her daughter. I bought the pattern and yarn and started working a way to create this gift. The pattern was $5 and the yarn came to about $15, but as I would not use all of the yarn for this project, I decided to just consider this gift as being worth $5. The other $5 I have spent on a small candle and some chocolate. I was catching up with a friend last night and told her about what I was doing as a gift. She pulled a face and said that I was being an a-hole, as I should have spent the entire amount of money solely on Jay as it was meant to be her gift. She also said that as a mother, she probably won't get much thought for her as all the attention will be on her daughter, and that I should get her something better than a crappy candle and chocolate. She also said that a crochet version of the toy is not the same as the actual thing, and probably wouldn't be wanted anyway. I feel guilty now that I thought of her daughter over Jay. And if this is common that the mothers get overlooked, maybe I should scrap the toy idea and find something solely for Jay. I genuinely thought the toy would be a good gift to relieve a bit of Jay's stress at not finding the actual toy she wanted, but I may be wrong. Am I the a-hole here for giving my work secret Santa a handmade gift that will ultimately be for her daughter? Small update with added details. I received some great comments suggesting that I spend the allotted amount on Jay. This is what I have decided to do. I have kept the candle and chocolate for myself. It was a gingerbread scented candle and a bar of dairy milk, and have ordered a plant terrarium for Jay. She has often mentioned how she wants to get back into her plants, but has neglected them since having her daughter. Jay's daughter O has just turned 2 last month, and the toy that Jay has been searching for was a talking Miss Rachel doll, because O absolutely loves Miss Rachel. I am still going to give Jay the crocheted Miss Rachel doll and say it is a Christmas gift from me to O. I have often mentioned how I crochet stuffies for my nieces, nephew, and some friends' children, so I hope she will like it. The gift exchange is next Wednesday. As for my friend who called me an a-hole to begin with, she is single and child-free, which is why I wanted to ask others for their opinions. I have spoken to my friends and sister who are mothers. My own mother, unfortunately, passed a few years ago. Whether it was a good gift, and I got mixed opinions from them. Some said that they would love to have a gift like that, and others said my friend had a point, but they would still love the gift regardless. I think most of them just didn't want to hurt my feelings. I will update after the gift exchange to let everyone know how it went. Comment A, not the a-hole. This is above and beyond. Comment B, not the a-hole. That's a weird thought for your friend to have for a gift that is so thoughtful. It's pretty clear she's not a parent and has no idea how parents think. Proceed with your plan. Comment C. You're not the a-hole either way, but I do love the terrarium idea along with the doll you made. Moms sometimes do get forgotten, and it was very thoughtful of you to do this. Comment D, not the a-hole. The key to Christmas is in the giving, and you yourself are giving two people gifts. Those who feel you are in the wrong are probably the ones who will go home and criticize their gifts just before they decide to unload that gift onto someone who might honestly appreciate them. Comment E, not the a-hole. As a parent, I'd be happy to receive a gift that would actually benefit my child. The fact the lady has been saying she can't find the toy she's looking for, and you have gone to the trouble of finding similar that you can make is so thoughtful, that would make me even happier to receive it. Update. Hi all, just wanted to provide a quick update on my previous post. So the Secret Santa exchange was last week, and I gave Jay her terrarium, which she loved. I received a book about cat breeds. It just listed the different breeds and added cartoon pictures of them. Not sure what my Secret Santa was thinking, but at least it wasn't a crappy candle. I decided to wait to give Jay the crochet doll until today, as it was our last day together, and we would be the only people in the office. Jay was so happy with the doll that she did actually cry a little when she saw it. She still has not managed to find a talking Miss Rachel doll yet, so she was feeling very guilty that O would be missing out. Jay couldn't stop thanking me and told me that she knows O is going to love the doll too. Most likely will never put it down. I didn't tell her about how I was going to give the doll to her as part of her Secret Santa. Instead, I told Jay that I had stumbled upon a pattern that I wanted to try out, and that because she has been having trouble finding a toy, that this could be used as a placeholder until she could get the one she wanted. Jay just kept hugging me and saying thank you. She also bought me lunch and a Starbucks. It has been a pretty great day. It made me feel very happy knowing that my gift is appreciated and that I made a lovely lady happy. So it is a nice, happy update. Hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. Comment A, Merry Christmas to you as well. That little girl will be so freaking happy tomorrow today. Depends where you live. Comment B, aw, this makes me really happy. OP, you have the biggest heart, and I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. That said, I think it's time for me to get off Reddit because I just found the post that made me smile. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Comment C, I'm so happy that your hard work was appreciated. Comment D, read this multiple times now because each time it makes me happy. For your information, I would have also loved the doll as a Secret Santa gift, as it was something you truly thought about and would have reduced my Christmas stress a little. You are a lovely person. Comment E, you're awesome. Good karma will come your way. Comment F, this is so wholesome. You're such a kind person for going the extra mile. Jay sounds like an amazing coworker, and it's clear you really made her day, and probably her kids too. Love seeing people spread kindness like this. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting upset with my husband for eating the tamale filling in, prepped a due days ahead of Christmas? I don't have family other than my kids. Eating tamales reminds me of Christmas past when my parents were alive. Each year I make tamales for Christmas Eve dinner, and they take a few days to make. I prep the meat filling and store it in the fridge. A few days later, on Christmas Eve, I was gearing up to make the tamales when the husband tells me he already ate most of the filling because it was good. I asked why he ate it because he clearly knew what it was for. He said it had been in there for a few days and he didn't want it to go to waste. I was highly upset and told him I would not be making tamales this year. He would have to figure out dinner. He dismissed any feelings I had, didn't apologize and said I was being irrational, and did not want his mom to come if I was going to act like a witch. I explained I was not upset with her, I was upset with him, and I wanted his mom to come for the kids to spend time with her. Unknown to me, he called his mom and told her I was in a mood and she couldn't come over. When I called her, she basically accused me of being 100% responsible and didn't want to be in the middle. I totally understand her siding with him, but I was clear that I very much wanted his mom to come. Now the kids are sad and he's saying I ruined Christmas. Was I being irrational for not wanting to start an entire tamale making process from scratch on Christmas Eve? Comment. Yeah. Not the a-hole, this is deeply lazy, greedy, and disrespectful behavior from your husband. It sounds like he can't take responsibility for his own behavior either, tries to blame it all on you and how you reacted to his poor behavior. Does this happen a lot? Husband acts like a bad person, You get upset, but somehow he manages to blame it all on you? I know people are like, everyone on Reddit just jumps to divorce in the comments. But like, in what world is this guy not an irredeemable a-hole? There's no way this is isolated behavior. Agreed, not the a-hole. Making tamales is a labor-intensive tradition that clearly holds deep emotional value for you. Your husband eating the filling, knowing it was specifically for Christmas, was disrespectful and dismissive of your efforts and feelings. It's not about the food. It's about him disregarding something important to you and failing to acknowledge the significance of the tradition. Refusing to restart the process last minute isn't irrational, especially when he hasn't apologized or shown understanding. Instead, he escalated things by involving his mom and shifting the blame onto you. He should take responsibility for his actions and their impact instead of deflecting and dismissing your feelings. You deserve support, not guilt, for being upset about something so meaningful. Comment B. Not the a-hole, but you sure did marry one. I feel sorry for the kids because, unless there's some major therapy soon, this marriage is either ending a divorce or they will be raised by parents always fighting. Comment C. Not the a-hole. You didn't ruin Christmas, he did. You're not the a-hole. He knew exactly what that filling was for. His actions were disrespectful and inconsiderate. It wasn't just food, it was a tradition, an emotional connection to your past. His dismissive attitude in involving his mother unnecessarily made it worse. He ruined Christmas, not you. Don't let him gaslight you into feeling guilty. His behavior was childish and selfish. Comment D. Shame on him, and double shame for lying to his mother to make you look like the bad one. Let him go to his mama's house for Christmas Eve dinner. Order in a nice meal for you and the kids and just tell them Daddy ate the dinner, but he can't ruin Christmas for the rest of the family. Then wrap up a piece of coal and put it in his stocking. I hate to go there, but since you make tamales every Christmas, and obviously the filling always gets made ahead, do you think he ate the filling and ruined the tamale plans deliberately? Sure sounds like it. Comment E. So he ate the filling, didn't tell you, let you find out on Christmas Eve when it's basically impossible to go replace all the needed materials, knowing that it is a family tradition you're carrying on for you dead mother, and then flips the script and says you're being a witch and calls his mom to cancel. Why? And ruins Christmas not just for you, but his mom and children? Not the a-hole at all. Comment F. Not the a-hole. I'm honestly tired, so tired of marriages where one partner does all the planning and labor and the hard work AITA running the house, making the holiday and all the other stuff. And the other partner is oblivious in the way and critical. Your husband is a piece of crap, and you can tell him I said so. So in 2025, you're going to expect better and leave behind the things and people who bring you down and hold you back. Take the kids out to dinner. Who doesn't love IHOP? Leave your husband to marinate in his crapulence. Let his mom keep feeding him, cleaning up after him, and caring for him, since she didn't raise him to be a useful, helpful partner. Next story. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my parents after I was accused of SA? For context, my sister told me last night that she wanted to talk. I said, sure. What's going on? She tells me that my younger brother said I SA'd him when we were younger. I laughed at first and her face got very serious. I said, my God, no. I have never and never will do that to someone. I freaked out because so many thoughts were going through my head. I called several friends and shared this to just get someone to listen to me and talk it out, to which the regular was essentially, what the fuff, and there's no way you could ever. I even called my therapist about it. I am a gay male, and for additional context, the person that accused me is my youngest brother. We are not close and have not contacted each other in almost 2 years. My brother is a drug addict, doesn't work, mooches off my parents and has a live-in girlfriend that he snuck into my mom's house one late evening and has been there ever since. He was here a month ago with my brother-in-law and was taking beer from my sister's house without asking. So I made a comment to my mom about it, which reached him. It feels retaliatory. What hurts me the most is that my dad came this morning and asked if I happened to do this to me, brother. I said I would never, and I'm so hurt that this would even cross their mind that I would do such a thing. He said okay and said he would tell my brother. Fast forward an hour later, I'm at the store, and my mom now calls me asking how I'm doing. I responded, just peachy for someone who was just accused of sexual assault. My mom said, in order to keep the peace between you two, he's asking that you come sit with him face to face and tell him that you didn't do it. I was effing livid. You're asking me for an admission nonetheless. And whatever I would say isn't going to satiate whatever feelings or thoughts he has. It would just validate them. I just found out that my brother changed his story from, he did something to me, to, well, no. What I'm saying is he tried to do something and I scared him away. Trying to be noble and telling my parents, I just don't want him to do this to anybody else. I told my parents that because you chose to believe him without even hearing me talk, that I want to cut ties as I don't feel like I'm even part of the family anymore. They're telling me that I'm overreacting and that they just wanted to keep the peace, but this is a real bad accusation with real consequences. Am I the a-hole here? Comment A. Not the a-hole. You don't need that toxic stuff in your life. If you already have so much going on, your parents should even be ashamed of thinking that. You're better off without them. Comment B. Parents chose to believe a lying junkie over you. That says everything you need to know. I don't think you are wrong for cutting them out. The family might think that his drug abuse is a result of SA trauma. OP might become the scapegoat for his brother's shortcomings. Comment C. You disengage. Talk to your therapist about the betrayal and ask for advice about writing a letter to all involved explaining the situation and how you feel. That way, the obviousness of your not having left out of fear of being caught or confronted is clear. Your collected, mature unwillingness to feed into your brother's manipulative bullcrap is asserted, and your record of events or asserted facts are in ink and available as a memento for any furthering bullcrap the nutcase wants to try to say. Maybe don't put anything in writing without running it by a lawyer. Comment D. Not the a-hole. This is not something you keep the peace about. The sad thing is your parents were really in a horrible situation. It doesn't sound like they accused you, but they asked you, and your brother is also their son. Imagine if their son was in fact violated and they dismissed him without asking the question. There's no way for your parents to get this right, but you have every right to feel betrayed. You have every right to feel angry, and you have every right to distance yourself from everyone who would believe something like that about you. And you definitely have every right to yourself from someone who would make such horrible accusations for no reason. Comment E. Not the eye hole. Honestly, drug addicts will sink to any low. They're career liars and manipulators. They will do anything to manipulate support and money out of those around them without giving anything in return. What's worse is that it sounds like this has been your brother's method of operating for a long time and your parents know it. But they'd rather give credence to such obvious bullcrap than calling him out. Now, normally I'd say believe the victim, but this guy has been a known liar, manipulator, and drama monger for a long, long time. Taking such a claim from a known liar seriously without evidence when the story keeps changing is just being willfully stupid. Comment F. Not the a-hole. I think you're absolutely right with not wanting to ever interact with your piece of crap brother again. He's a dangerous liar and should be treated as such. I think the next step with your parents is a bit cloudier. They're in an absolutely crappy position. They have this son who's neck deep in issues and drugs, but they still care about him and want to protect him. It's their responsibility to at least investigate claims, even if they know there's no way. However, if they are still wanting to keep the peace, which if that's what they asked for, then it seems to me like they don't buy the claims, but they want to toe the line and expect you to take the punches. After he's proven that he's not being truthful by changing his story, then that's a real problem. You need to be frank with them. You need to tell them that you cannot take this lightly, that this ruins lives, and that if they continue to want to keep the peace at your expense, you're walking and talking to a lawyer, which you should do anyway. Document, document, document. Family members of addicts often want to just smooth things out at the expense of the other members of the family. But this is beyond that. This is your livelihood, your reputation, your freedom, everything. These kind of accusations ruin people. And if your parents can't understand that, then you are absolutely not the a-hole for going no contact. Next story. Am I the a-hole for suggesting that my brother and his fiancée bring out a cake at midnight on their wedding day for our grandma's 80th birthday? My older brother is getting married to his partner on July 20th, a date that they agreed on in January and shared with the family. July 21st is our grandma's 80th birthday. She comes from a line of women where none of them live past the age of 80, so it's a big deal for her. And she announced last year that she wanted to go all out with a weekend-long celebration. When my brother announced his wedding date, she was the first one to react with kindness, considering he forgot all about her 80th birthday plans when deciding upon the wedding date. They had made several down payments before announcing, so there was no point in asking them to move the wedding a week before or later for Grandma, and Grandma wouldn't allow it. She ultimately decided to have a relaxing, low-key Sunday dinner because my brother and his fiancée also want to have a post-wedding brunch that day for relatives and the bridal party. My mom and I got to talking, and we thought it would be super fun if, at midnight, us grandkids could surprise Grandma with a cake and have the band play her favorite song so we could share a dance with her. It seemed like a fun way to include such an important milestone into the celebratory weekend since she was giving up her big birthday bash in favor of the wedding. I called my brother immediately to share the idea with him, and he loved it. He even came up with the idea to make the cake England-themed because Mom and I are taking her to England in September as our gift. It's a lifelong dream of hers to go. That is, he loved it until he didn't, meaning until he spoke with his fiancée. He called to say the cake deal for Gran was off, and that same night I received a text from his fiancée telling me I should have checked with her first if she would be okay with it, and how I was being insensitive, rude, and selfish for meddling with her special day. Yes, her special day. Not my brother's special day or their special day, her special day. She really seems like a good person, and we get along well, despite not being super close, but it seemed logical to me to contact my brother since it's also his wedding, and it's his grandma, not hers. I responded back by saying it was my brother's special day as well, and how he was initially thrilled by the idea. I also told her I didn't appreciate her accusing me of meddling, since both Mom and I have fully respected the fact that she planned the entire wedding with her mom, leaving us out of the loop, despite my parents paying for a portion of the wedding. My mom was bummed about being fully excluded, even though all she would have wanted was to know how everything was going. The wedding reception is scheduled to end at 2 a.m., and by midnight she'll already have been the center of attention. It's not like someone is going to jump out of her wedding cake and propose to another person. My text was met with a phone call from my brother, who basically told me the conversation is over as I've overstepped my boundaries. Am I the a-hole? Comment A, not the a-hole. Your kind, loving 80-year-old grandma, who has already expressed how this is a historic and meaningful moment for her, is more important than your entitled sister-in-law, who would already have a full day of attention under her belt by then. Go ahead and plan for lovely festivities with your grandma and her family without sister-in-law or your brother. She outright declared war on the people financing her wedding and who are important to her husband, so all bets are off. My mom is now really upset over the whole situation, and she feels responsible for messing things up. I, on the other hand, am pissed off enough to blow off the wedding and throw Grandma a weekend birthday bash instead. The old lady is so sweet and kind that she would probably be stressed going back and forth as to not miss her grandson's big day or the party her granddaughter threw her. I mean, of course I won't do it, but it's fun to think about. I do admit I was originally annoyed when they announced the wedding date. So were my aunts and cousins. But my grandma was so kind about it, and my mom supported her as she wanted to be there for both her son and her mom. So Grandma ended up settling for a basic Sunday dinner, knowing everyone will be tired, hungover, and worn out, instead of having a weekend-long birthday bash with all the people she loves. Do you think those aunts and cousins would be down to organize something for your grandma? Nothing outrageous, but something better than a lunch alone and closer to her original vision for a weekend-long party. I would have to check with them. Mom doesn't want this getting out as to not upset Grandma and to not further upset the bride-to-be. The problem is that we have a lot of family and friends coming from out of state. They were originally going to come for the birthday, but now they're coming for the wedding. So I'm not sure how many of them could tweak their schedules and stay an additional day or two if we were to celebrate on Sunday and Monday, for example. Comment B, You're not the a-hole for suggesting it, but definitely you're the a-hole for arguing it afterwards and for coming here clearly still trying to prove your own point to yourself. It's her wedding to your brother. You can't expect someone to let you borrow her wedding for your own event. This is the most important event in some people's lives. They get to have whatever celebration they want. Yes, your brother approved it, but if it's not something both people want, then just drop it and apologize. You have, in fact, overstepped your boundaries. If you want to do something nice for your grandma, take the initiative on some special event actually for her. Don't borrow a wedding. Borrow a wedding is a wild overdramatization for a potentially 10-minute interlude at the end of the night that would make an 80-year-old woman feel special for crossing a major milestone. Not gonna lie, if anyone needs to point the finger, it should be the brother. Forgetting a huge family event was dumb, and agreeing to anything before talking to his fiancée was dumber. Comment C. You're the a-hole. Your post, your comments. This is less about honoring your grandma than trashing the bride. All you had to do was ask both of them together. Also, I've learned from on here. Comment D. You're the a-hole. It's a nice sentiment, but it's not your party, so you don't get a say if your idea is ultimately turned down. Your brother made his choice as well. Comment E. You are the a-hole. Jesus, you and your family sound annoying. You are trying to hijack the wedding out of pure jealousy. Your grandmother has already said what she wanted. You all need to listen for once. Hijack the wedding? That's a pretty extreme way to describe a 2-minute singing of Happy Birthday while a cake is brought out at the very end of the night. Massive red flag to me if she does indeed need every single second of those 24 hours dedicated to her. A wedding is about the merging of two families. It wouldn't have been a great way to show respect for her new grandmother-in-law. They hijacked the birthday. People from out of town were already coming to celebrate Grandma, and Grandma already said she wanted to go all out for her 80th birthday. The bride and groom announced their date after they knew that people were coming. Comment F. Most of these comments seem to be putting words in your mouth that you did not express. You suggested, brother liked, but got vetoed by bride. Okay, you weren't happy but said nothing and kept it to yourself. Then the bride got pissy. You suggested a birthday cake for a huge milestone birthday for your grandmother, who had to cancel her plans to accommodate their wedding. Remember, she'd already started planning, and you just defended yourself. It's understandable your brother just asking to drop it, but sounds like your future sister-in-law is going to be insufferable. Not the a-hole. And all the people saying you shouldn't hijack a wedding for another celebration completely agree, which is why you asked beforehand. From your comments, it was your brother getting excited about the cake design, etc., not you making a whole separate birthday party at midnight. Finally, someone with reading comprehension skills. It's insane how many people are flat out refusing to acknowledge what I wrote and are instead coming up with their own ideas. Update: the wedding is off. After the conflict between me and my brother's former fiancée, which resulted in a phone call from my brother, I decided to text her 3 days later to apologize. Even though my family and the internet sided with me, I just didn't want any bad mojo or to be a sister-in-law from hell. My text was met with a lot of anger on my dad's behalf, which really surprised me because the man supports me no matter what. He was telling me how I shouldn't have been the one to apologize, and he let another thing slip out. End of February, the bride's dad asked my dad in confidence if he could pitch in additional money for his daughter's dream wedding because he didn't think it was fair he had to pay more, due to tradition. My mom didn't know about this, which prompted fight number 1. My dad was pissed that I was the one to apologize even though I was the one that was insulted. So he called my brother behind our backs and told him that he respects the fact that she will be his wife and his primary family, but how he also thinks he should have checked her for insulting me the same way he checked me for crossing a boundary. He then did what dads sometimes do best: go off with a monologue after keeping crap inside for months. He told him about the additional money that he gave, and he told him he wasn't convinced the overlapping events were a coincidence. Fight number 2 ensued. My brother called our mom the next day to tell her the wedding was off. All hell broke loose. We then couldn't get in touch with my brother or his fiancée for almost a week. Her mom then got a hold of my work email and emailed me saying I had ruined her daughter's life. I forwarded the email to my brother and he finally called me back. He said it felt like she wanted to marry for the wedding, not for the marriage. She also admitted to making her dad ask our dad for more money so she could afford a wedding flower package she wanted that was an additional $7,000. And she saw nothing wrong with keeping it a secret from my brother. She also refused to at least acknowledge my apology and to apologize back to me. My brother told her he would like to postpone the wedding and work on their issues, and she ended up calling off the wedding and breaking up with him. My relationship with my brother is still a wreck. He said he needs time because he loves her, but he understands she didn't prioritize him as much as he did her. Grandma's birthday bash is back on, and we're happy for her. She's excited as heck after the initial turmoil. I miss my brother so much, and it sucks knowing how heartbroken he is. But at least he's talking to my parents, and he has the rest of the family as his support system. I really hope we can rebuild our relationship someday. I'm glad he won't marry the wrong person for the wrong reasons. But it's awful being the trigger to his life falling apart, and I regret everything. Comment A. Ultimately, it sounds like this is for the best, and your brother dodged a bullet. Hopefully you two can repair your relationship. Thank you. I'll be seeing him for the first time during Grandma's birthday weekend, and I'm equally terrified and looking forward to it. I'm hoping we can sit down and talk, but if not, I won't pressure him. I know our family will do everything to try to cheer him up and be a solid support system. I don't know your brother or you, so take this for what it's worth. Maybe talk about anything but this. Dude's wedding just got called off mere weeks before it was set to happen. He's probably hurt and embarrassed. So go talk about baseball or whatever. Something innocuous. That makes sense. The wedding was called of mid-May, a few days after I had originally posted, but the two of us haven't spoken aside from that one phone call. I do text him periodically just to check up on him. He hasn't replied to my texts, but he's talking and FaceTiming with our parents and grandparents, as well as some cousins, so I know he's okay and slowly doing better. I would like to apologize to him face-to-face, but I like the idea of keeping things lighthearted if possible, so he can feel more relaxed and hopefully have some much-needed fun. Comment B. To the degree that you caused this chain of events, and honestly, if you didn't ask about the cake, someone else would have done something that the bride considered meddling, so I don't think you did. It's a favor to your brother in the long run. It's super painful and embarrassing to call off a wedding, but divorce is worse. He got to see something he needed to see. I hope he comes to see that soon, and I hope you know you did nothing you need to regret. I haven't considered this perspective that eventually someone or something else would have probably said of a similar, if not worse, chain of events. It just really sucks being that person in this entire situation. The pain he's feeling is what's making me regretful, not the called-off wedding per se. I don't think his former fiancée is a bad-to-the-bone type of person. She just doesn't seem to be the person for him, at least not now. I also think that the wedding planning and wanting to keep up with the Joneses got to her and further exacerbated some of her character flaws, so I'm really hoping she can also heal from all of this. Hey, there was no chain of events. There was nothing wrong with asking. That's the point of asking, to be told if it works or not, even after initial excitement. Being told no is not the end of the world. There was nothing wrong with asking your brother. He's 50% of the wedding and obviously related to you and to the reason you asked. There was no other way about it. You did the only right thing. He then proceeded to ask his ex-fiancée, as he should. Again, nothing wrong. She could consider it and tell him exactly why that wouldn't be ideal for her. Maybe they would have found a third solution. There's nothing here that presupposes a conflict if everyone behaved rationally and decently. She is the conflict. Don't feel bad at all. Comment C. That's a lovely outcome. Saved your brother some trouble down the road and managed to keep a lovely celebration together. For what it's worth, we set up a whole week's worth of events for everyone to just be, only 2 official wedding events, together and hang out. One of the other official events was an auntie lunch, which was actually cover for a surprise milestone birthday lunch and new vehicle for a family matriarch. I'm hoping I can use the adjective lovely to describe this a few years down the line. But not for now, LOL, though you're not wrong. Sometimes what's best for us isn't what we want, and it takes a while to accept that. Next story. Am I the a-hole here for teaching my son after lesson and throwing him out after he said household chores are a woman's job? Throwaway account as my son knows my real one, and I want some advice. I, 34 male, got a 16-year-old son with my ex. 34 female. We had our son way too early in life. We lived on the same street growing up and knew each other from school. We fooled around sometimes and the rest is history. I'm ashamed to say, but both our parents have been exceptionally controlling in both our lives up until the divorce, and both my ex and me were too much of a pushover to do anything about it. When they learned she was pregnant, they forced us to get married. They told me they want her as a stay-at-home mom and me to work. My ex and I, we hated each other for our stolen lives. We were never cruel to one another and have never displayed any hatred in our house for our son's sake. But we slept in different bedrooms and avoided each other as much as we could. We split up after I caught her cheating, which finally made us both able to break off the chains of control both our parents had over us and get divorced 2 years ago. Now everything is very good between us, and I even consider her a friend, now that she's no longer my wife. And credit where credit is due, she was, however, a remarkable homemaker and an amazing mother. When we divorced, I had to learn all of this on my own. It was the first time I realized how much work goes into maintaining a house. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I had to look up YouTube tutorials on how to clean and cook. A few weeks ago, I was ironing me and my son's clothes and told him that I want to teach him how to do this, as I don't want him falling into the same mistake I did and never learning this on my own. He said he doesn't want to, and I just said he'll have to learn to do this at some point. He then said, only failed men do stuff like this, and I won't be one of them. I stopped and looked up a bit bewildered and asked him to clarify. He said that it is his belief that this is a woman's job to do and that only simps do simple household chores. I tried to keep my composure as much as I could, but asked if he saw me as a simp, and he just shrugged. I told him that now he will have to choose his next words very carefully, but I said that he will learn household work, whether he likes it or not. He again reiterated what he said, and I said, well, if you think this is a woman's job, it's time for you to live with a woman and to pack his bag and to go to his mom's house, as I will not have any of that Andrew Tate bullcrap in my house. My son lives with me during the week, as his school is only 5 minutes away, and his mom nearly 2 hours. He refused to make his bag, so I made it for him. He started seeing the gravity of my seriousness and tried to backtrack on his words, but I wasn't having any of it. He must have called his mom in the time I was packing, as she called me as well. She asked me what's going on, and I told her what happened. Surprisingly, she's on my side and has just asked me to drop him off at hers, and she'll help teaching him a lesson. It's been about 2 weeks now that he lives with his mom, and she has been reinforcing the household chores on him. He's called me multiple times to apologize and asking me to come back. His mom and I agreed he's going to stick this up for a week or two after the holidays and make him commute to school and do lesser household chores, and then let him come back to me to reinforce the consequence of his belief. My friends that I spent Christmas with yesterday said I was rather hard, and it was a crap move to uproot his life like this, and it was an a-hole thing to do. So now I am questioning myself, was I the a-hole here? Comment A, awesome job co-parenting and holding him accountable. They're teaching their son an important life lesson about respect and responsibility. It's not just about chores, it's about breaking toxic attitudes toward gender roles. He needed that wake-up call. He needed to learn that kind of behavior isn't tolerated. Household chores are a basic life skill, not a woman's job. OP and his EX have been successfully nominated as co-parents of the year. Comment B, not the a-hole. You gave him a reality check that he needed, and it sounds like you and his mom are on the same page to teach him a valuable lesson. Better he learns this now than grows up with that mindset. And the punishment makes sense. It's directly related to the bullcrap, he said. Not the a-hole indeed. Amazing parenting here. I would just suggest inquiring exactly where he learned that nonsense to address whatever else he believes, as I guarantee that's not the only view he's picked up, as well as continuing your life skills, mental load classes to reinforce it all. Comment C, not the a-hole. You two may not have been right for one another as spouses, but you're both amazing parents. This is one of the best examples of cohesive co-parenting I've heard of. Kudos to OP and his ex for both standing firm. Now, parenting isn't just about being their friend and provider, it's about helping them grow into respectful, capable adults. I'm proud of how they handled the situation. Comment D, not the a-hole. This Andrew Tate patriarchal bullcrap is dangerous and scary. Nipping this in the bud is hugely important. I'm actually impressed that you and your ex did such a great job handling this together. Let him come back after he writes a paper comparing and contrasting the lives of women in Iran before and after 1979. Have him document the dangers of the patriarchy and what happens to the overall economy in a nation that embraces it. Well done, Dad. Well done.